How many times have you denied yourself the opportunity to do something that you really love simply because you believe you are too old? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about how my own belief that I was too old to have dreadlocks and I was too old to write a novel and to get it published. These two things don't seem like they have anything to do with each other, but they do. And if you stick around for this short video, you will see why you're never too old to do what you want and how I figured this out, and hopefully it could help you figure out how you can do what it is you want, what's on your heart, and you are not too old. Welcome back to the Literary Lori YouTube channel. I'm Lori L. Tharps, and I am a traditionally published author who moved to the south of Spain so I could become a full-time novelist. So on this channel, usually it's all about writing, bookish things, but in this episode, I am talking about my hair. And even though that might seem odd for a writing channel, my very first book was Hair Story: Untangling the Roots of Black Hair in America. That book is 25 years old. For 25 years, I have been talking about all things black hair, and I can't help myself. I see connections with any topic. I mean, any topic. We could be talking geopolitics. We could talk about ice cream flavors, and I would be able to connect it to some black hair story. So today's video, really, it does make sense. I swear, I promise it does, that this idea of feeling like I was too old, it came to play in both my hairstyle and this idea of writing a novel. And I hope that my sharing what I learned will inspire somebody else on their journey as well. And at the end of the day, that's what I started this channel for, is to share my experiences, my strategies, my tips for writing, for the writer's life, for being a good global literary citizen. And, with the hopes that my sharing would help or inspire someone else. So me sharing my hair story right now, I really do hope that it helps someone else. And again, it is connected to the novel as well. So let's just get into it. FYI, I don't have air conditioning or a fan blowing in my office right now. So this has to be quick because I'm going to turn into a sweaty mess and nobody needs to see that. So here we go. First and foremost, let's talk about the hair thing. All right. So basically, if you've been watching this channel since it started, you will notice that I have different hairstyles in literally every video. I have worn dreadlocks for over 30 years, and I recently cut them off, or recently at the end of 2025, cut them off because I thought I was just too old to have dreadlocks anymore. I thought my hair was thinning. I just thought locks were too heavy. And I was of a certain age, over 50, and was like, oh, I guess I just can't have locks anymore because, I've seen too many women of older age with locks. Their hair's thinning. They've got like 2 locks hanging on their head and they're just holding on for dear life. And I just didn't want to be that person. I didn't think it was a good look. And I, have no problem wearing, an afro or, just other natural styles. But the thing was, after a while, I just realized that I feel the most comfortable. I like having locks. It fits into my low maintenance beauty style. I identify myself, like when I look in the mirror, I literally don't recognize myself without locks. And I have like a spiritual connection to them. I love seeing what my hair will do when left to its own devices. Anyway, what I realized though is that 3 things were holding me back from actually deciding to try to grow another set of locks. First of all was what I consider confirmation bias. I believed that I was too old, so I just looked for more information or more proof that I was too old. I was afraid. Like, I literally was afraid because I thought my hair is thinning. I'm just too old. And I was afraid of looking crazy if I tried to have locks again, or that, somehow my hair would all fall out and it would just be a mess. And the third thing was, it was straight up, let's just call it laziness. And I don't mean that in like a derogatory way. I just was like too lazy to think beyond my fears. I was too lazy to think beyond the confirmation bias that I was just, convinced that this was the case. So let's see what happened next. Essentially, once I realized what I was doing, the confirmation bias, the fear, the laziness, I thought to myself, well, what if I'm wrong? Like, what if you can have locks after a certain age? What if everything I've read that said that all women's hair thins at a certain point and locks are too heavy and they'll cause traction alopecia? What if that's not true? And so I started doing research about hair health and scalp health and lock health. And then I started thinking about or looking for examples of women who were over age 50 who had a healthy set of locks. Guess who pops up first? Toni Morrison, Alice Walker, right? Like, see how this is connected to writing? But really, it was really great to see my heroes as the examples of my beauty ideals as well. So I started to think, wow, it's not true that I can't have locks after a certain age. And then I learned all the ways that women over age 50 should be thinking about locks. For example, I'm not going to be manipulating them as often as I did when I was younger. I'm going to be washing my hair more. I'm going to be using less products. So it is different. I do have to take care of my hair in a different way than I did when I was younger, but it is still possible to grow locks. So that was the lock story, okay? And one of the reasons I'm actually making this video is because there were very few videos showing women over 50 who wanted to start locks. Now, girls, I am not one of those hairstyle YouTubers, whatever. So girls, I'm not showing you all my hair, but you can see I have little twists that are started. And, maybe in another video, I will show you an updated, where I am. But needless to say, I started a new set of locks about a month ago. Now let's jump over to the book thing. I actually had the same situation with writing my second novel. Okay, even though I moved here to, become a full-time novelist, it took me a long time to make that decision. It took me a full year to make the commitment and to say, I am going to be a novelist. I can write my second novel. But I had the same fears. I was like, I'm too old. I'm too old to write the kind of juicy book club fiction that I want to write. All those young 20 and 30 something authors, they're the ones who are going to be able to get those kinds of book deals, write those kind of books. It's not going to be me, because if I write a book at this point, a novel, juicy, delicious book club fiction, these main characters are going to be, looking at 50 plus, right? And I'm like, that's never going to happen. Nobody would want to read that book. So confirmation bias. I was seeing only, young 40 under 40, 30 under 30 debut authors getting the book deals. Also, again, in terms of being afraid, I was, very comfortable in my career as an academic, writing nonfiction books, getting those deals. And the fear of doing something, not only of the fear of putting myself out there, the fear of being laughed at or embarrassed, or putting myself out there like, oh, I'm going to get a book deal and not getting it, like, too much fear. And then the last part, the laziness. I mean, again, I'm using the word lazy as a catch-all, but in a way, it would have been a lot easier to keep my life in the United States, keep doing what I was doing, getting book deals, mostly for doing ghostwriting and other nonfiction books, and just like keeping on, not changing anything. But once again, I had to look at the confirmation bias that I was feeding myself to tell myself it's not possible. And then it was actually because I did a podcast episode about the author Dorothy West. Dorothy West, you probably know her from her book, The Wedding, which came out in the 90s. Well, do you know that Dorothy West was a child of the Harlem Renaissance? The book she wrote, The Wedding, she was 85 years old when that book came out. 85 years old. And she had written her first novel during the Harlem Renaissance 45 years prior. Okay? And The Wedding, okay, so she wrote her first book during the Harlem Renaissance. She was like the kid, the youngest member of the Harlem Renaissance. They literally called her the kid. Then she just had this regular life for the most part. And then she decided when she was 83 to start writing a fiction again. Not only did The Wedding come out, Oprah turned it into a movie. She had like her biggest, she was a Harlem Renaissance darling, but still, that book, her second book that came out 45 years after her first book, was a huge hit. I mean, big time hit. And she died just a few years after it came out, but still, she did it it was a hit. And, like everything you would want, Oprah embraced it. Like everything you would want happened for her. And so after I did a podcast episode about Dorothy West, I had to ask myself, and what is it that you're afraid of exactly? What is it that you can't do because you're too old? Are you 85? I don't think so. Now, honestly, after I did that episode, it's, I didn't just automatically stop being afraid, but that gave me the impotence, the evidence, what I was looking for. And then I just kept looking for more and more evidence. Did you know Toni Morrison was 40 when her first book came out? Did you know Isabel Allende was 40 when her first book came out? There are so many amazing writers who I really admire, whose best work, whose first prize didn't come out until they were well over age 40. And even though I am well over age 40, and also, just so you know, a lot of these writers who are older, they also, like Dorothy West, not a 45-year gap, but it took them a while to get well known. So they didn't write one book and then that was it. They had to write multiple books before they became the well-known writers that we know today. So wrapping up here, what I learned through my hair and through my experience of getting a book deal in my 50s, 16 years after my first novel, Substitute Me, came out, is that we're not too old. What we are maybe too afraid, too busy confirming our fears, and maybe just a little too lazy to go beyond those fears, to go beyond the confirmation bias and look for evidence that it is possible what we want to do. So I'm starting to glisten here. I hope that I have encouraged you to examine your own behavior. Ask yourself, are you confirming your own doubts? Are you operating from a place of fear? And are you just being too lazy to get past these things? I would say that, again, there is too much evidence all around us that there are somebody older than you chasing their dreams, making them come true. And you're the only one stopping yourself from achieving whatever that goal is. So write the book, grow, get that hairstyle, get the hair cut, get the goofy glasses, go on that romantic trip, do whatever you have to do so that you don't die with regrets. All right. That's it. I want to tell you also, from now on, I am going to be committed. I'm committed to coming to you and bringing a new video once a month. That's what I can commit to right now. I don't want to give up on YouTube. I feel kind of overwhelmed in the sense of trying to, bring our video out more than once a month, trying to do it every week. It's not happening, but I still want to keep coming and sharing. So this is my August video. I will be back in September. Until then, please find your thing, do it, don't be afraid, and remember, you're never too old. And if you want to keep hearing from me in between now and our next video, make sure you either join my mailing list or come find me on Substack. You can find me at La Negra Literaria. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.